And with that said, let's get to our guest speaker today, our dear friend, who I really admire so much, Regional Vice President Platinum, none other than the great Mr. Dean Tarrolly.
Mr. Thomas, good morning. Hey, everybody. Man, what a surprise. I got to see Mr. Dakota Bragg, Mr. B. That's my guy over there. And man, what a treat. Love them, their family, just entrepreneurs at heart. And man, what a great treat, man. Good to see you, Dakota. And Josh Casey, let me start there, and then I'm gonna circle back to Mr. Thomas. Josh, thank you for your service. The text message that you sent me couldn't have been more humbling, and I really appreciate the kind words. And anything that I can do to help, I'm going to do whatever I can. Thank you for your service. Look, man, for someone like Mr. Thomas to jump on the plane and come down to be a part of your the ceremony today and your retirement, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. And thank you for how you bring it every time we get the chance to do an event together, man. You're awesome. You have an energy that is completely contagious. It's not a surprise that you've done well in the company and in life, quite frankly. So, Josh, congratulations on the job well done and serving the country. We're grateful. I see you in the car over there, and I know it's a big day for you. So, congratulations, man. So, you guys, you know how I feel about Mr. Thomas. Known him for a long time. And shoot, I've been doing this call with you guys for years now, and we joke around about I think Mr. Thomas is finally sick of me. I think he's finally said, like, okay, we've tapped the well of this particular person and his training, but we seem to keep coming back. And I want to let you guys know that for those of you who don't know, Mr. Thomas does not need to do this call. He does not need to do these leaderships. He does not need to do this 5 days a week. And he does not need to include all these other teams. He does not need to do those things, but there's no way he wouldn't, because that's just who he is. He's a what's up, Dakota? He is, Mr. Thomas is a servant leader. He's a definition of a servant leader. When you've made the kind of income that he has out of this business and has the ability and the freedom to do the things that he does not need to do this. So just, you guys, I hope you don't take these times for granted. I'm not necessarily talking about my specific training. I'm talking about the environment and the culture that you can use to build your business. But so here's the deal, you guys. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between admission and participation. There's a big difference. And anybody can be admitted into the ACN club, right? What does it take? It takes $2.99 and submit on a computer, and you're in the club. But the question is, and why you're on these calls, many of you every day, right? I hope that you're on these calls to gain some knowledge and insight that is going to translate, and that's an important word. I hope that you're on these calls to get information, knowledge that will translate into action, right? And I think one of the fears is that I have is that we have an environment with such great leaders and people that will go out of their way to help everybody. But you guys, listen, we as leaders, and you maybe as a leader, you can't help your team more than you're helping yourself, right? What do I mean by that? The three most important words in ACN are lead by example. Well, we understand that. Everybody gets that. We want to lead by example. You want people to have 200 customer points, you get 200 customer points. You want people to go executive team leader, regional coordinator, regional director, you need to do it. So you're showing them that it works. You are proof, right? So when we're talking to people, we have these goals in mind. We have these production goals in mind. We have these position goals in mind. We have these things in mind that we want to accomplish. So one of the challenges that I was thinking about is I was preparing for this call today. I got my notes right here, by the way, as I do. One of the things I was thinking about is we have goals. And sometimes what happens is when we're out there building our business, whether we're talking about someone being a customer or looking at our business, right? We have a goal, and how does that person fit into our goal, our rep goal, our customer goal? And here's what gets missed. And here's part of the magic, I think, in our business. People like a Nakota Bragg, people like an Al Thomas, that they've got this thing down. Is you got to be willing to meet people where they're at. What do I mean by that? I hope you guys write that down. I got to meet people where they're at. What it means is your goal, your design, your objective of building a team, building a customer base, that's great. And that has to be there. But the thing gets all skewed if you don't meet the person where they're at. Because if you don't meet them where they're at and you show them how this can fit into their life, how this can be a benefit for them. You know, I'm in a meeting right now. I'm in Lubbock, Texas right now. I know Mr. Thomas is in San Diego for Josh's retirement. I'm in Lubbock, Texas. We just did a meeting with a gentleman, a great guy. His name is Brandon, and he works in the oil fields. So one of the things that I explained is like, look, here's how ACN could work. While you're out managing, and guys, that's hard work. Imagine what it would be like while you're out in the oil fields and you're working out there, that we're building you a business back here, getting paid on electricity and health sharing and internet and TV and home security and these other ways to be able to generate a side income on the side of what your full-time gig is, right? So you got to meet people where they're at, like learn a little bit about the circumstances, you know. The old cliche, the kind of silly old cliche joke is, you know, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think sometimes that gets missed in our achieving and goal setting and our you know, design for what our month is going to look like. You got to be willing to meet people where they're at. Now, in sharing this with you, you also have to make sure that you are on track for the goals that you have set up for yourself. So how do I balance this, right? How do we balance this idea of, I have these goals that I want to hit, but I don't want to be this person who's just you know, a bull in a china shop where I'm just trying to get people in and get them qualified like that. Like, that's not the goal here. The goal is to build something that someone can have a shared vision of how this could work for them. So what do? How do you lead by example? And how do you make all this kind of fit together? You got to find a why for them. Now, I'm not going to sit here, you guys, we understand your reason why. And, you know, if your reason why doesn't make you cry and all that kind of stuff, like, I get it. But the point is this, is that people typically are not necessarily motivated by money, but they are motivated by the things that money can get them. And I don't mean material things. I mean quality of life, lifestyle, and freedom. Maybe not having a boss, maybe being in charge of your own schedule, and maybe not having to answer to somebody, right? So when you find that reason why for them, that you identify that, and now you have a vehicle to help them achieve that reason why, right? Now this thing the puzzle starts to fit together, right? And now, because of the vehicle that we have, the opportunity to build with an industry and a business that people are already participating in, well, that's freaking genius. And now you have the ability to take them where they want to go. They maybe just didn't know that they could do that here. They didn't know that there was an opportunity to get paid on these things. They didn't. Or how about this, you guys? How about who's heard this phrase before? Who's heard some version of this phrase before? I've done businesses like this before. Who's heard that? I've been in networking before, right? So then you have to figure out what's going to be different this time around. Well, let me tell you, there's a couple main differences. One difference is we're marketing services, not products. Here's another difference, is the company that you're involved with. Okay, services, not products. The company you're involved with, the owners of the company. You guys understand how rare it is that the four gentlemen who started this company are still the same four gentlemen that are running the company after 30 plus years? How rare that is. And the fourth part, and the most important part, is you. It's you. It's how are you showing up for your team, for that prospect, for that person, for that guest? How are you showing up? Are you someone that someone looks to and goes, you know what, that's a person that if I hitch my trailer to, they're going to take me where I want to go, right? And to overstate the example, we have a couple people in Texas right now. Regional Vice President Ryan Ruiz, I believe he's on this call, right? Regional Director Roxanne Corlejo. I'm in an office with her right now. Like you guys, oh, there she is. She's waving. So you guys, here's what's crazy, right? So check this out. When you start to get these things in order, you meet the people where they're at, okay? I'm not talking about location. I mean inside, where they're at, what's going on in their lives. You find a why for them, right? And typically those are affairs of the heart, more time with my family, out of debt, pay off the student loans, all the things that you guys have heard about. You meet them where they're at, and you build some rapport and a connection with that person. And you can do that quickly. Then you take them where they want to go. What does that look like? You got to ask them, what would you do if you had more time and more money? Where would you go? Who would you spend your time with? Right? How does that look? How does that look for you? Great. If we could bring in an extra this, or we could bring an extra that, would that help in accomplishing your goal? Well, I've always wanted to be a personal trainer. Great. How come you're not doing more personal training? Well, I have my job. Understood. If we could bring in, I like to say this language, you guys, if we could bring in some bill paying money, part-time, on the side to take some of the stress off, could that free up a little more time for you to do more physical training or whatever that reason why is? Well, yeah, it would. Great. I've got an answer for you, right? And then here's the key. You got to show them the roadmap. What does that look like? You got to show them the plan. You got to walk them through the 6 boxes on a piece of paper or the 10 boxes on a PowerPoint. Walk them through it. Don't race through it, right? Walk them through it, but don't crawl through it. Don't make your presentation an hour, 2 hours. 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, explain the basics. One of the things that I covered in a leadership last night, you guys, is I believe that, first of all, I believe that a rep can be signed up at every meeting. I believe that, a new team member. But I think the real value and the determining factor on the success of a meeting is this. To me, this is just me. Mr. Thomas may or may not agree. I think he does. Mr. T, if you want to unmute yourself after I say this, that would be great. I don't know if you're able to, if he might have had to jump to get to the graduation. I don't know if he's still able to be on or not. Anyway, here's what I want to share with you guys. I believe that the mitigating factor of a successful meeting or presentation is this. Is someone coming for a second look? Is someone coming to learn more? Is someone coming to learn more? Are they coming for a second look? Did they see enough to warrant coming to Saturday training? Did they see enough to warrant coming to your briefing? And if the answer to that question is yes, you've done your job, right? We are in the business of exposure. So when you understand that a successful meeting, in my opinion, is, did it result in a second exposure? Did it result in a second meeting? How about this? You showed the business to someone. Did it result in getting together and do a game plan training? Here's the roadmap that we have to show you how to get promoted and paid, right? That's how this thing works. You guys, when people see the information, if it feels to them as though there's too much, what do people typically say? I have so much going on. This looks great. This is a lot to take in, right? Let me help you guys with this. Okay, people are unpredictable. Okay, but here's what I do know. I was doing a meeting, and after the meeting, we had a really good culture after the meeting where our team members would bring guests. They'd almost wait in line to come meet the leader. And here's what ended up happening. One of our reps had a guest, and they came up to meet me, and I said, what are your thoughts? I said, man, it's great. I think it's really good, but this is a lot of information. It's a lot to take in. Who's heard that? Who's heard that? Okay, cool. So I said, okay, we made up a game plan to kind of like sift through the information at another time. And then the next person in line said, I said, hey, so what are your thoughts? You know, you see an opportunity? Yeah, I do. Yeah, you ready to get started? He goes, well, you know, I really need more information. So the first person said it was a lot of information. And the second person said, I need more information. Back to back, right? So what is it? What's the moral to the story with that? The moral to the story is if you did enough to set up a second meeting, whether it was because of too much information or they wanted more information, if there's enough for a second meeting, that's what counts. That's the magic. Because typically when someone comes to a second or a third exposure, the chances of them joining your team goes up dramatically. Now, do we all know people who see it, who see the information, they get it, it makes total sense to them, and they get started on the team? Absolutely. That happens, and it happens all the time. But I think the true value in this, and something that you guys need to not beat yourself up over, is if someone looks at the business and it makes sense to them and it leads us to a second meeting, I'm telling you, you can stamp that, in my opinion, as a success. Now, it is your job to follow up with those people, right? The whole thing that we've heard, the fortunes in the follow up. Like, don't let somebody walk out of a meeting and not set up a second meeting. The value of the first meeting is setting up the second meeting. The value in the first meeting is getting them the information, breaking down the comp plan, doing any of those things in that second meeting. That's where the value in this absolutely comes in, right? So we're going through that right now. We're going through that right now in Lubbock. Like, we have the team has been building like crazy out here. We have a really great group of people, and know, you guys, that those second meetings are so insanely valuable because it does a couple of things. Number one, and probably the most important thing, is it lets that new person know that you're not going anywhere. It lets that new person know that you do have a game plan for them, right? We're not winging this thing. Okay. So when you have a second meeting, here's the deal, you guys. When you have a second meeting with someone, be very crystal clear. Like, you need to have a game plan for them. You need to have a game plan for them in and around all the things that are going on in their lives, their work, their schedule, their family, their coaching, their business, their all the different things that comprise a very busy life. You got to make sure that you have a game plan and something specific set up for them, right? Don't come in there and just chit chat and, hey, it's great to see you, and high five, and hey, we'll hope to catch you at the meeting. Thinking maybe, well, I don't know, kids got a game and stuff like that. That's that didn't put that. There's nothing concrete there, right? The first meeting of exposing them is getting them enough information for them to see if they see value in learning more. And if they do, then the magic comes out of the second meeting, where you have a game plan for them. Here's the promotional bonus for the month. Here's how we're going to help you earn this $500 to $700. Here are the bonuses for the services. Here's the ones that I would suggest that we should really look at, because there's either point promotions, or there's promotions or bonuses. There's customer bonuses, like the one for Vivint right now. Vivint Security, excuse me, Vivint Security is crazy right now. Vivint Security is a 10-point service plus $250 to the rep if they sign up their own service. 100 for the 150 for the customer, and 100 for the rep. That's, guys, that's awesome. So you get 10 points and $250, and you're securing your home and your property, right? So understand, you guys, that if you have a game plan for someone. Now, let's say that you're kind of newer on the call, right? You need to work with the leader that you're working with and have a game plan set up for your prospect for that second exposure. I can't express to you how, because it's one of the things I've been thinking about on my way out here to Lubbock, how insanely, incredibly important this idea of this acceptance and idea of a second exposure is for people. Because the overwhelming majority of time, when somebody comes to see it twice and they get their questions answered, and you draw out and you map out a roadmap, a game plan, you GPS them to that promotion, I'm telling you guys, that's how this works. So just know that the success of a brand new person most of the time is going to lie in their willingness and your ability to get them to a second exposure and map out a game plan. You guys, the fact of the matter is this: if people join the team and they're like, look, I don't want to share this with people, I don't want to sign up customers, I don't want to do it, then you say, look, I think maybe this isn't a fit. You know, like I'm not going to try to get you to do something that you don't want to do. Like, there's a ton of money on the table for us to do very few things. Signing up a few services, give me a break. Put a few people in front of the information, let them decide, and then the leader's going to work for you, right? So we have to make sure that we sort of like for lack of a better way to say it, protect the integrity of the opportunity by making sure that people understand, look, we're not trying to sign a bunch of people up that aren't doing anything like that. That no business is going to function that way. And certainly not ours or mine. I don't do that. But if we're going to do this, then let's just do at least the basic things to put someone in a position to get promoted and paid. And lastly, you guys, here's what this leads to. And this is the word I've been all about lately. What it leads to is evidence. It's evidence of the system working. It is people getting promoted and paid, right? An employee-minded person tends to think, how much is this going to cost me? Is this going to cost me? Am I going to spend? That's an employee mindset, where the business owner mindset is, how much is this going to make me? Right? And we need to show them the value of what the reward is for them by signing up a handful of services, right? By putting a few people in front of the information and get them in front of the leader that you're working with. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys, is just to make sure, number one, meet that person where they're at. Number two, find a really good reason why for them. Number three, show them the roadmap to take them, or number three, take them where they want to go. And number four, you got to show them the roadmap to get there. If you do those things, I'm telling you guys, I believe you're going to have a lot of success and a lot of activity in your businesses moving forward. And here's the result. You are now proof and you are now evidence. Here in Lubbock, we have a whole bunch of people that have gotten qualified, they've gotten promoted, they've gotten bonuses released because they signed up their services and they did a few things and they were coachable. That's it. Is everybody going to be that way? Obviously not. That's just not the way that life works. But for the people that are, they are proof and they are evidence of the system working, which is why Mr. Thomas, Mr. Dakota Bragg, these other people have had such successful businesses, is because they've been able to create the activities that lead to the result that's evidence and proof of the system working. The same thing can happen for every one of us. So that's what I had to share with you guys today. Again, greetings from Lubbock. And Mr. Thomas, enjoy the graduation. Josh Casey, thank you for your service. We appreciate you. Congratulations on the retirement. That is really awesome. I see you there, man. And again, I appreciate that kind text that you sent. That was really humbling. And we will get connected soon.